I want to key off, I actually didn't plan this, but I want to key off of one of the questions that was just mentioned here. Somebody asked, how do you create your RAG evaluation data set? How do you create these golden answers? It was a fantastic key on because that's what I'm going to talk about today, key problem. So with that, I'm Ofer. I run developer relations at Vectara. Here's Donna, my colleague. Before I jump into open-rag-eval, like my promotion for our company, we're Vectara. We do trusted RAG platform for the enterprise. So we focus on bigger customers if you want to, that's what we do. But I'm going to talk about open-rag-eval today, which is all about evaluating RAG and agents without the need for golden answers. So let me walk you how that works. First of all, who here has a RAG system or worked on a RAG system? Raise your hands. Great, maybe about 40%. Okay. And do you know if it's giving you bad answers? You may know if it's giving you good or bad answers, but some people know. So that's one of the biggest problems in RAG today is people build it and they don't know how to evaluate it. So there's this whole space of RAG evaluation, of course. And so RAG evaluation is difficult. And it's difficult because of three reasons. One is it's really hard to debug. There's a lot of components in the system. So if you have a lot of vector databases and things, it's really complicated to debug where something goes wrong. It's very brittle. But the most important thing that we heard from a lot of people working in this space for a while is that this idea that you can create the questions, but can you put effort into building these golden answers is really difficult. And if you had the resources and the money to have somebody manually do it, in many cases, nobody really knows what the right answer is. Like think about really complicated things where you have some, hundreds of documents in PDF. There's no one person in a company that actually knows the right answer for something. So this has become a really important problem. So what is open-rag-eval? It is a research-backed, community-driven, open-source project that I'm going to introduce today. And the main thing, as I said earlier, is it does not require golden answers. And I'll explain how the magic works in a minute. We did this in collaboration with the University of Waterloo and a research lab of Jimmy Lin. And it allows you to not just evaluate your RAG, but also show side by side. So you can kind of constantly update it and make it better. So I'm going to let off my clicker and show you a quick view of what it looks like. This is the UI of open-rag-eval. We call it open evaluation. And I have some demo set here to show you. So when you finish running open-rag-eval and you want to compare side by side, you'll look at something like this. You'll have retrieval metrics to show if your retrieval in RAG is working well or in your agent. You'll have three types of generation metrics. You can have groundedness, which is the generated answer correct? You'll have factuality, which is does it hallucinate in terms of like HHEM? And you'll have citations, which is does it use the citation properly? And you'll have it for every query. You can click on this and deep down into each metric and see the results. And I'm going to talk about some of these things, what they mean in terms of umbrella scores in a minute and explain this. But this is what it looks like when you really want to either get a high-level comparison or see a kind of a side-by-side. All right. So how do we do this magic? So, and this is, you can read later on. I encourage you to read the papers from University of Waterloo. They did fantastic research. But the two main components I want to explain first are UMBRELA and AutoNuggetizer. UMBRELA is a relatively simple mechanism that takes a passage or a chunk or a document that comes into your RAG pipeline. And what it does is it gives us a score you can see here from 0 to 3. 0 being the passage has nothing to do with it, 3 being it's answering the answer correctly. And it's generally an LLM as a judge operation that gives these scores. Now you might say, okay, well, what's special about this? I can do this. I can come up with some scheme like this. The really powerful thing about this is that they've done extensive research with peer-reviewed papers and conferences and shown that the particular way this is done highly correlates with human judgments that were done in manual research. So you know that this particular thing not just makes sense, but actually works in practice. Similarly for AutoNuggetizer, although it's a little bit of a more of a complicated step-by-step process, generally the way it works is you create these nuggets from the chunks. Those are atomic units of information or knowledge. and then you have you rank them as vital or non-vital, and then you sort of rank all the vital ones, and then you figure out whether your generated answer is supported by all these vital information bits that you have from the chunk. So that's kind of your AutoNuggetizer metric. And then two other metrics we have is citation faithfulness, which is a lot of times in RAG you have citations, so that's great, but are the citations really supporting the answer, and are they good? And again, there's a step-by-step process here. And then factual consistency, which is something I talked a lot about in the past, but hallucination detection. So the generated answer might still be hallucinated even if you give it the right chunks. So those are the metrics, and that's how it's done. That's how the magic is done. So again, the new thing is that if you've seen here, there's nobody has to write the answers. I mentioned the golden answers a lot, but there's also the golden chunks. You want to do retrieval, who writes the golden chunks? That's almost impossible to do. Okay, so you've seen this. This is what it looks like once you run the open-rag-eval. It's got connectors to Vectara, to LangChain, to LlamaIndex. We're inviting people to also write connectors to other things, and please contribute to the repo. We're really looking forward to getting a lot of more connectors. It's a pretty nascent project, still about 8 or 9 weeks old, but we're growing really fast. And now I wanted to talk about one last thing, which is something that's kind of in PR state right now, and you can take a look at what it is, but it's a really interesting new metric we're adding to this, probably kind of come up in a week or so, is RAG consistency metric. So what is consistency, right? Imagine you run your RAG system, and there's 2 employees running and getting not the same response. That could happen. So RAG consistency measures across retrieval, generation, everything that we talked about on over all of these metrics. It measures whether if you run it multiple times, you get consistently the same metric or not. Really, really important for regulated industries like healthcare or financial services. A lot of the customers we work with are in those industries. So here's the PR. You can take a look at it and see how it works. And yeah, so it's pip install open-rag-eval. Encourage you all to take a look at it. Please give us a star on GitHub. It helps get attention for broader people to learn from it. And absolutely, if you have issues, new features you want to see, maybe if you're courageous enough to contribute a PR, we really welcome that. And yeah, this is my information too. If you want to follow me on Twitter or on LinkedIn, I keep updates on this project as well. And thank you very much. And I'll take any questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Ofer. Appreciate it. We got time for one question. Additional questions can be had on the side over here.
Thank you for the talk. Quick question on golden chunks. Actually, RAG sometimes build over different kinds of documents, right? Sometimes the knowledge is spread across presentations, literature, PDFs and everything. And each of them would require a different kind of chunking, I imagine. So how do you solve this problem? Or if you solve it at all?
So for in Vectara or in open-rag-eval? In general, yeah. So yeah, that's right. So chunking, by the way, the history of chunking has been that why do we do chunks? Because about 2 or 3 years ago, when GPT was earlier, we had smaller context windows and we couldn't get a lot of chunks. Now chunks become larger and the LMs can deal with this. But generally, I want to add more complexity to your question. There's also multi-model. What do you do with tables? What do you do with images? But generally, chunking is something where in the context of this, you want to explore. You want to see I've heard about probably 5 or 6 different chunking strategies. And one of the things you can do with this is you can try all of them and see which one works better. So this is a very, very good tool actually to do experimentation across your, in the context of Vectara, I think about is we have a lot of levers in our API. You can control the chunking. You can control whether you use hybrid search or not. You can control which ranker you use. Well, a lot of different variables. And it's really interesting to do one against the other and see which one gives you the best result. So it's almost like A/B testing for RAG.